Welcome to the Let's Talk BS podcast. I'm Bryan.
And I'm Sofia, and we're coming to you live from the
757, where we discuss real estate,
culture, and current events.
What's going on, Sophia? Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Bryan. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good.
That's
Good old
good.
Friday.
Yeah.
You know, Fridays is the best day.
Yeah, the second best day. I think Sundays are the best day of the week, personally.
Because you don't do anything on Sunday.
Nah, I mean, I do, but I relax and chill. You know what I'm saying? Like, I try to, that's what guys say. You got to have that one day of rest. So I try to make sure I abide to that. You know what I mean?
Is that what he said?
That's what he says.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what he says in the good book.
Good book.
Yeah. So, yeah. But today's good. I'm feeling good. It's Friday morning. We're coming off the event you had yesterday, right?
Yes, we are. It was a nice day yesterday. It was a beautiful day yesterday.
It was.
Yeah.
This week has been gorgeous, to be honest with you. This whole week, the weather's been like, I feel perfect. I think one of the days it kind of was a little bit warmer. Yeah, day.
Wait, was it Wednesday? Well, no, Wednesday was supposed to rain.
I don't think it rained.
And it didn't rain, but it looked kind of...
Yeah, because Wednesday I played golf.
Is I think the word that they call it. Yeah.
Wednesday I played golf, and I remember we got an early tee time that morning because it was supposed to rain that afternoon, and it actually did not end up raining
At all.
Yeah, but it's been a gorgeous week, man. It's a gorgeous week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yesterday me and Crystal Green over at Onyx Realty, we put together a networking group. And within the networking group, it was for all entrepreneurs or people who are just starting out in entrepreneurship in some way, whether you're in real estate, whether you're outside of real estate. I mean, we had, people who own mental health companies. We had people who own apparel companies, home inspector. I mean, we just had so many different businesses and representation of different businesses there. It was a nice turnout, and it was a beautiful day on top of all that. And then we had this drink that we made. I came up with the CEO. That was the drink of the night.
You know what? I saw that. So you actually came up with that? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah.
I seen that. When I got there, I saw that there, like you said, it was like a drink for the event, which was dope. It's a good idea. I seen they have vodka in it though. That's why I ain't touch it.
Vodka or gin. So you could have chosen either war. I don't drink gin.
I don't drink either one of those.
Yeah.
So I didn't touch it. I seen a lot of people got it.
Yeah.
Because I asked that somebody had a drink and I asked them what was that because it looked nice.
Yeah, it looks pretty, right?
And they said it was the
drink.
They said it was the CEO drink, and I was like, oh, okay. And I looked and seen because they had like a little thing to show the ingredients. So I was like, I can't touch that.
Yeah. You could have switched it out for something different, but ultimately, it was a nice drink, and I seen a lot of different people drinking it.
Did you have it yourself?
Yeah, I did.
You did? Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
I did have it. It was my first time having it though. That was the first one.
But I know from what you told me before, you drink vodka. So I know for you, and I just didn't know if you had tried it last night or yesterday.
Absolutely, definitely tried it. Trying to think like what else. It was just let me tell you about my first, y'all. I had, for the first time, somebody recognized me because of the podcast. Look.
Yeah.
It was the first time for me. I know Bryan talks about it all the time where, people come to him and say all these different things about the podcast, as a part of their conversation. But that had never happened to me before. I was like, oh, yeah, that's dope, But it's different when it's you.
Yeah.
So it was a first for me.
Yeah. No, that was cool. Yeah. You told me that because I always do be telling you like, yo, it's funny. Everybody I run into, the first thing that they obviously ask, like, hey, how's your family? Whatnot. Because most of the time it's people who I've known, maybe I knew when I was younger and we just hadn't seen each other in, many, many years.
Right.
And so just like, hey, how's your family? They kind of see, probably Facebook friends or Instagram friends. So they see I post stuff. So they know I have a family. They know I'm still here in the area. So they ask about that. And then the next thing they always say is like, yo, the podcast is dope. Keep it up, whatever. It was funny. Little quick story. This past weekend, me and my son, we went to Dick's Sporting Goods. And, I actually got my son his first pair of golf clubs. And so we got there and, I actually grabbed the wrong pair of clubs, actually. I got some that were left-handed and not right-handed. So I literally got the clubs, got home, and was putting it up because I have like this little putting set that he likes to play on. And so I pulled the wrapper off of him and everything. And I looked, I'm like, hold on. And I looked, I'm like, yeah, these is left-handed. And I looked on the box, and it's on the very bottom of the box. I'm like, who picks the box up and looks on the bottom to see if it's left-hand or right-hand? I feel like they should put that like in a more visible place. But hey, that's just my, my 2 cents, right? Yeah. Anyway, so we got home. I noticed they were left-handed. My son is right-handed. So we went back up to Dick's Sporting Goods and I switched them out. So when we were coming back through, we were walking, me and my son, and he was pushing the shopping cart. And I seen a guy that I went to high school, not even high school, middle school with. He walked and he was like, "Hey, what's up, B?" I was like, "What's up, man?" And he seen my son, because my son was pushing. He was like, "Man, your son looks just like you." I was like, "Yeah, man, that's what everybody says." And then he was like, "Yo, that podcast, man, yo, it's dope, man. I listen to it all the time, man. Keep it up." And it was like, I hear that all the time, but it was pretty cool to kind of hear that in front of my son. Because my son, a lot of times, like, I'll drive around in the car and he'll hear, I'm playing the podcast so he can hear it, right? And he gets excited when I just mention his name in the podcast, right? When I'm talking about him or whatever.
Yeah. And
so for him to, see somebody that, that's not us, like, walking around and it said, hey, and actually mentions the podcast, it made him feel like I was famous. You know what I'm saying? So he was just like.
Not famous.
Yeah. He was like, yo, and because we were walking to the car, he was like, Dad, like, yo, he listens to the podcast. I was like, yeah. He was like, okay. He's like, hey, go ahead and turn on. Let's listen to it again. I'm like, what? Like, it was just so, like, that moment in his mind, it was pretty cool to see that. So I'm glad that you were able to see that, people out there listen to us, man.
That is true.
And they like what we're putting out there. So that's
They
dope.
do.
Yeah.
They do. But yeah, like I said, the event was really nice. It was at the ocean front. You could literally go outside and put your feet in the sand if you wanted to. Like, it was a really nice venue. And there was a moment where I got up and I spoke. And it was funny because as I was getting my car from valet, the valet guy was like, I was really listening to what you were saying. Can I have your information?
Oh, for real? That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah. So he was like, this was a great event. And he wasn't even a part of the event. He was just there working valet.
Yeah.
He didn't even charge me for valet.
Oh, that's what's up.
He didn't charge me for valet. The people at the bar didn't charge me for the drinks, all my drinks. I think I may have paid for one drink.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's what's up.
Yeah, so it was really nice.
Yeah, the spot was dope too. That was my first time ever checking that the
Oh, the
Moxie
slide. There's a slide inside of the venue.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I had a bunch of different people like going down the slide, and I wanted to kind of capture like the expression of them coming down because we're adults. We really, for the most part, unless we're with our kids, we don't have fun like that, right?
Yeah.
So all these people were going down the slide, but let me tell you, when Bryan went down the slide, oh, it was the funniest thing, y'all. And I'm gonna make sure look below, okay? Because he came out this slide.
You gonna have him cut the picture on the joint. I already know. Oh man, don't do me dirty.
He was terrified.
Nah, man.
He couldn't even catch his balance coming out the slide.
Man, okay, listen. Look. See, it's funny how what they would say. It's funny how she gonna say all that, right? But she didn't go down the slide.
Did nobody ask me to?
But
no
why
one
we gotta
asked me to.
But why somebody gotta ask you to go down the slide?
I came up to you and I said, "B, can you go down the slide?" You was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I asked Chase if he can go down the slide. I asked Jesse. I asked Tillman, and I asked the other Bryan. Right. Everybody volunteered. Nobody said, Sophia, you should go down the slide.
I feel like you can't.
I wasn't gonna volunteer that.
I feel like you can't be in the position of like joking and talking if you didn't experience yourself, especially acting like because.
Nah.
Okay. So
y'all gonna see why he in his feelings.
Nah, I'm out of my feelings.
Check it out below.
I'm not in my feelings at all. I don't appreciate that she talked a joke and she didn't even experience it herself. Like that ain't even what it's on. You know what I'm saying? Like the slide. I will say this because people who know me. I'm not a fearful person. I ride roller coasters. I'll do any of that stuff, right?
But the slide got him, y'all.
No, the slide is not. It's not at all. What you got to understand is, and we'll have to have another event, or have you have another event there. So then next time I will.
So you
for
can fix
sure,
your face.
No. Next time, no. I'm talking about for you to actually go on the slide yourself. Because what happens is in that slide, and I think everybody who you name who actually did go on the slide can attest to it, because you're not speaking from experience right now.
Nobody came out fearful. I
wasn't
video.
Fearful, man.
I will show y'all everybody who came out
matter
that
of fact,
slide.
let me show you something. Because I actually have my buddy Sean who's in the military.
Yeah.
He laughed at the jump. He said, I did that shit and had the same face. See?
Well, you and Sean on the same vibes.
No, we not. See, look what he says. I know. I was like, damn, this shit slick scary. This is what he said.
See, he just admitted it. It was scary.
No, it's not. It's not scary because it's a slide. I mean, put it this way. I'll speak from experience because you don't have no experience on it. So let me speak from experience and clear it up. So the way the slide is, it's a long slide and it's a black slide, right?
So it's very dark.
So so that's the thing. So
Very
when you're
scary.
it's not scary.
Okay.
What are you scared? Like, if I'm in a slide, what am I scared of?
I don't know. Facial expressions tell it all.
Okay. All right. Anyway, what happened in the slide was you're in the slide.
What did Brooke say? Did she see the video?
Yeah, I showed her.
Okay, what'd she say?
Yeah, she just started laughing. Yeah, I mean, she didn't say, but she knows she knows me. Like, she knows I'm not scared of slides and stuff like that.
You weren't scared, probably, as far as like the fear in your heart. But when you came off that slide, B, your eyes was like
I got big eyes. I do that all the time. That ain't nothing different.
Like it was like,
because let me explain. I'm trying to get this explanation out. She keep cutting me off because she know her time is coming when it comes to get on that slide.
Man.
Now your time is coming. I might next week. I might be like, yo, Sophia, meet me at the slide. Just meet me up there so we can.
So you can put it on the podcast.
Yeah, man. But nah. So seriously, about the slide, when you slide down the slide, it's completely black. So when you don't know when it begins or ends. So literally when you're coming out of the slide, it's like you're in blackness, pitch blackness, and then you just come and you're on the, I guess, like the little mat that's in under, that's in front of the slide or whatever, so you don't hit the actual hard ground. And so that's why my eyes like that, because it's like my eyes were open trying to like see what was going on because it's complete black, and next thing you know, you dropped out in there. And so naturally, anybody who knows, I got really big eyes. So I was like, when is this gonna end? Like, when is this gonna end? Because it was long. And actually one time, because I had flip-flops on, my foot, I think like halfway through it, because the rubber insole, or not insole, but the rubber bottom of my foot, like it hit the thing and it kind of like stopped me for like a hot second, you know what I'm saying, as well. And then it just kept going. So it was cool. Funny. Like I said, it was pretty cool, man. Like I said, I definitely, had a good time on the slide and actually had a good time on the event. So it was cool.
It was a nice time. It was a nice time. So outside of that, man, last weekend, we did not make it to the football game. Because the night before I had went to the knitting party, guys, and my homegirl who threw the party, right, she sent us these videos and she told us to pick up the yarn or whatever. And she was like, yeah, you're going to need 8 bundles of yarn. And so before I got the 8 bundles of yarn, I had already gone to the store and got 4. And I was like, well, you know what? I'll just make a little throw, not a full-size blanket, but a little throw. I said, because in my mind, I was like, none of us know what we're doing, and there's nobody there to instruct us, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, how are we going to learn? She was like, oh, YouTube. I said, okay. Yeah, 4, we'll keep it at 4, right? Mm-hmm. So we get there. We're chit-chatting, talking, drinking, watching this YouTube video. It was a complete fail, y'all. Complete fail. Like, no one person was able to put together maybe like, I would say this much of the blanket out of the whole time we were there.
Right.
Yeah, because if you move the blanket, it starts to fall apart.
Okay.
We were having difficulties with spacing. It wasn't knitting it. It was more so just keeping the spacing how it needs to be, because it ended up being, when I did mine was too spaced out. So I had to start over again. And then same thing, some people's was too tight and it started bending. It was just a lot of stuff where we could have done it, but it would have been better if someone was there to be like, hey, fix that, and then you would be good. Or, hey,
I got you.
Yeah, so got home pretty early that night, didn't even stay out too late. But then when I came home, I couldn't go to sleep. I stayed up till almost 3 o'clock in the morning.
Dang.
Yeah, and then I already have like, I have an alarm set on my phone, like for a just in case type of situation, like just in case, I'm dead tired and I don't hear nothing. Usually I wake up before my alarm, almost 90% of the time, but I don't have any alarms set for the weekend, so I had forgot to set it. So I woke up at like 8 on that Saturday morning, and the game starts at 9, and I got to get ready and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, we just ain't gonna go today. It'll be fine. But I hear you told me that it was a little drama that happened on Saturday. Like, They too young to be having drama on the football field. Like.
Yeah. Nah, it was an intense game, man. So I would say right now the team, we're undefeated. We won. I'll first start with that. We won again. It was the closest game we've had so far. And it was really drama at first between the coaches. Like, so I'm the assistant coach, and the other team actually had 3 coaches. So there was drama between us at first as far as just how we were going to play the game. Yeah. Because the first couple of weeks, the way we've played the games, and just so everyone out there knows, if you don't know, the league, they're ages 5 to 7, so they're playing flag football, right? And so as far as defense goes, the way we've been playing it up to this point is because the kids are still trying to learn the different concepts of the game. You know, when the center hikes the ball to the quarterback and the quarterback turns around and hands the ball off or does whatever, you know, the kids are still just kind of getting that snap going and making sure they understand exactly how to do that transition. The defense that's right there, as soon as the ball is hiked, they're getting right into the backfield even before the quarterback can hand the ball off to the running back a lot of the times, right? Because the kids really aren't blocking for real. Like they're not that advanced.
Carter never blocks.
Some of them block, but some of them, they're just not.
The older ones, like the ones that are closer to 7, they usually block. Even the ones that are closer to 6, it's like they do it periodically. Yeah. But like Carter, he just turned 5, so he's just looking at everybody like, that's what you got to do. Go ahead and block. I'm gonna stand here.
Yeah. So to make it easier for everyone, what we've been doing is if your team is on defense, the coach that's, on the defense, right? So me and the other guy, we have, our team and, the coaches have their teams. We let our defense know when to go. And so we typically, even when the ball is hiked, we tell them to wait. And we tell them once the quarterback actually gets the ball and then is ready to do what they're going to do as far as either run the ball themselves or hand the ball off, then we tell our defense to go. Okay. Right? And that's what we've been doing for the last 4 weeks. On the
sidelines, we don't even know that.
Yeah, so that's what we've been doing for the last 4 weeks. Everybody's been on board. So this particular game, they just weren't feeling that, right? They were like, no, we're not going to do that. The kids got it, which I a little bit understand because naturally the kids are going to want to go when the ball is hiked, right? That's how football is played. But we were also saying, hey, and not we, but just the referees were saying like, hey, if we play it like that, the kids are never going to be able to get the ball and run or do anything because every single time they're going to have their flag pulled before they even get going, right? Mm-hmm. So there was a big, I guess disagreement about how that goes, right? Mm-hmm. So finally we came to we had a meeting, like early in the game, and they were like, hey, this is what we'll do. We're just going to back the defense up 5 yards. So that allows that time for them to get from there to the line of scrimmage. Hopefully the offense would have been able to do what they do and whatever, right? So that was like the solution for that, which was cool. We were all cool with that. Yeah. So that was like the first, I guess you could say, like where, hiccup or just disagreement. Mm-hmm. So then the game was good. Like I said, it was the 2 best teams. They scored, we scored, they scored, we scored. And then in the second half, what happened was the kids actually started being a little bit physical. They started pushing each other, or whatever, because they were really trying to win the game. And so what happened that really kind of stirred the pot was my son. I had a big thing with him this week. I was like, hey, son, you got to play defense better because all the kids they want the ball, they want to run and score, but they don't ever really want to grab the other team's flags, right? Correct. But in the house or whatever, before the game, they chasing each other around all the time. So I'm like, hey, it's the same thing in the game. Whoever got the ball, go grab their flag, right? And so this whole week I was like, son, you got to play defense. Like we're, you're not just a one-sided player. So he was like, all right, cool. So he actually did good. He got 3 flags this past week. And what the issue though that happened is one of the kids broke one time, and he ran him down, and he was trying to pull his flag, and the kid, and they're supposed to have their shirts and their jerseys tucked in their pants, but this particular kid didn't. So my son was trying to pull his flag, and he was pulling his shirt and his flag. So he had both of them in his hand, and by him doing that, it pulled the kid down. It wasn't anything tough. I mean, he literally had him by one hand trying to pull it, and the kid was still trying to run. He was trying to run, and because the kid was trying to run, the kid fell down. So then a parent, because it was right by the sideline, a parent was like, you're being too aggressive. He was yelling or whatever. And the coach also was like yelling as well. And my son, he's like, he felt like he was being he was doing what he was told to do, right? And so they were kind of like yelling at my son. So I was like, yo, chill, like, you know what I'm saying? And then my son started crying because he was just confused. He was like, hey, I'm doing what my dad said, and I got these other people yelling at me, like what's going on? You know what I mean? And so then we had to have another timeout, talk about it or whatever. That they made sure everybody had their shirts tucked in and all that. And then after that, we just started beating them, man. So like we ended up beating them by 2 touchdowns. And it was cool. Like I just felt like that was like a really rallying moment for the team. Because everybody kind of seen how they were, they were talking to my son and, talking to one of their fellow teammates, and it made everybody wanting to kind of like band together and do good for each other. So,
Wow.
yeah, it was definitely, intense. It was pretty cool because my dad actually came to that game. And also my mother-in-law, she was there as well. So I remember it was a moment where I looked across at my dad. I was so focused in the game, I really didn't pay attention to the side. That's normally how I do. And I looked across at my dad, and my dad kind of gave me that look like of approval, like a little thumbs up, like, son, you doing your thing out there. And so I was like, we just kind of had like a moment where it was like, yeah, because it was right after that whole situation was going. Yeah. He was like, you got him, son, you got him, or whatever. So that was pretty dope.
Yeah, so I don't even know if you noticed this, but not this past game, but because I wasn't there, obviously, but the game before that, there was a little boy who had on white shorts with red stripes on the side. And then our flags are red, right?
Yeah.
And so the kids were trying to grab his flags, but they were grabbing at the shorts because it looked
like the same thing.
Yeah,
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. So we were talking about it on the sideline because that had happened, and I was like, oh man, like that's crazy, but it happened. So I think that's why the regulations do say that you're supposed to wear black shorts.
Correct. And you're supposed to tuck your shirt in. That's the whole thing. Like that situation would have never happened if the kid would have had this. And the funny thing was they had like 3 or 4 kids on their team that didn't have their shirts tucked in, and everybody on our team had their shirt tucked in. Right. So we were abiding by the rules, but yet they were getting upset. Yeah. And they weren't abiding by the rules. It's just funny how, it is funny how people are, man. Like, they just like, oh, and then on top of that, one play, one of our kids ran and almost scored. He ended up running out of bounds, like right close to the goal line. And the coach was complaining, saying that his flags were rigged. They were saying that because it did look kind of crazy. I ain't gonna lie. It was one of the kids on their team was trying to grab his flag, and he was pulling at it, and it just wasn't coming off. You know what I'm saying? And so, like after the play, the coach was like, "You need to check his flags. I think his flags are rigged or whatever." Blah blah blah. So I walked up to him and pulled the flag and said, "It's not rigged." Like, you know what I'm saying? And so they were just, in their feelings. But it's all good.
Yeah, that happens when you're losing.
Yeah, I was about to say, we took that W, they took that L, and, life move on.
When that happens. Yeah, absolutely.
But what else you had? So I know you said you didn't go to the game, obviously.
Didn't go to the game. I did, however, let me see, what did I do on Saturday? I went to Chicken Wing Fest on Saturday.
Okay, I heard about that.
Yeah. That was actually pretty good. So my homegirl, it was a last minute thing. I wasn't even thinking about going anywhere, but I decided, I was like, you know what? I don't really like hang out with friends like that. I was like, I'm gonna go. So I went. She had a ticket for me. She hooked me up. She got it for free. She gave it to me for free. I was like, that's friendship right there, baby. So we went, and they give you like these tickets, and then you take these tickets and you turn them in when you taste whatever wings you want to taste or whatever.
You like vote? It's like a vote where y'all voting on them too?
Yeah, you vote on the best ones. You get these little tokens, and then you vote at the end. Okay. Well, I tried a bunch of different places. So I tried like Korean chicken. It was 2 Korean chicken places that were there. J&K Style Grill was there. Browns? What is it called?
Roger Brown's?
Yes, Roger Brown's was there.
Oh, they had for Roger Brown's out there? Okay.
And then it was a couple other, wing places that I haven't really heard of, but they were there, and they had some pretty good wings too.
What was your favorite one? There was one.
My favorite was Roger Brown's, hands down.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Like, they got some really good hot wings. But see, I like hot wings. I don't like mild. So if you like a good hot wing, they had a good one. And it was saucy. It wasn't dry. Like, I don't like dry rub. I like saucy wings. Yeah. I don't like them to be, like, even a saucy wing has to be saucy. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know how some people put sauce on their wings and it's very little? Yeah, like, I like a saucy wing, you know? Yeah. I don't want it to be where you have sauce on one side, the other side ain't got nothing on it. That type of situation. This was fully sauced.
Fully sauced.
Fully sauced.
Yeah.
And then, there was some unique wings, so I tried it was like a powdered sugar wing or something like that. And I tried this Korean fried chicken that was texture-wise the best. Like, they would have won for texture, but I'm not a I used to like, I think, when I was younger, Asian Zing a lot. Like that type of, flavor.
Yeah, that's my favorite from was it Buffalo Wild Wings? Yeah,
Asian Zing.
Yeah. I haven't had it in a while, but that's my favorite.
That's
why that was my go-to.
See, my favorite at Buffalo Wild Wings was spicy garlic.
Spicy garlic, okay. Yeah.
And actually the one at at Roger Brown's was like a ranch garlic something. Okay. Ranchero garlic or something, buffalo.
Okay.
Yeah, so it did actually kind of taste the same little bit. Yeah.
That's what's up.
But Roger Brown's was better.
Okay.
And then I tried this hot honey habanero, something like that. I tried a pineapple habanero. So it was some people had some unique flavors that maybe they wanted to try.
Do you
out.
know who won? Like the whole thing?
I don't remember who won.
Okay. Did they make like an announcement while y'all were there? Or
no, I left before that.
Before it was over? Okay.
Yeah, we started. It was funny because a couple of the girls wanted to get some. There's like this cupcake donut place that was like on the way out.
Okay.
So a couple of girls, we stopped there and got that. But then we started doing like these videos where we were like sashaying and doing all this stuff. And it was funny because the people who were around us, right? They must have been vibing with us because they were like, okay, yeah. And they were watching us do it, and we were just making funny videos.
Oh, yeah.
Like, for absolutely no reason, we just was doing it. And then after we finished, that was when everybody broke off. So we were there for a total of like 2.5 hours, maybe. And then I came on home, and that was the rest of my day. But
cool.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did. I don't think I did anything on Sunday. And then, your regular work week.
Yeah, man. My weekend was good. So this past Monday, the April 29th was Brooke and I's anniversary.
Okay, happy anniversary.
Appreciate it. So we pretty much did like anniversary things, I guess you could say, this weekend. Like Friday, Brooke's mom came over to watch the kids, and we went to the Atlantic. So that was pretty cool.
The Atlantic?
Yeah, the Atlantic is it's on 31st Street. It's down the oceanfront. Yeah, it's really good, man. This
I don't think I've.
It's funny because like for us, my daughter, she has a seafood allergy. So Brooke and I both really, really love seafood, and so a lot of times, when we go out to eat, like we go out to eat as a family,
avoid it.
Yeah, we can't really eat seafood like that. So anytime it's just me and Brooke, when we go out to eat like ourselves, like we get a lot of seafood. Like we like that's normally what we target is like we try to get our make up for lost times of not being able to eat it. So I asked her where she wanted to go. She said she wanted to go to the Atlantic, and Atlantic's cool. I like because they have like a really good vibe, man. It's like the food is really, really good. They have an oyster bar there where they got a guy that's sitting there. There's a couple of guys out there sitting there just shucking them for you. They have a big
Do y'all eat
menu.
Raw?
So we had a whole bunch of them, man. So we had some raw, some like the oyster Rockefeller. We had some mainly raw, not steamed. We just had them just raw or the oyster Rockefellers.
Okay.
Yeah, but we ended up having a whole bunch. But it was pretty cool. It was packed there. They had like a 30 to 45 minute wait when we got there. And we got there like 4:30. So we got there like actually pretty early, I would say.
Oh, wow.
But when we got there, we ended up just kind of hanging out at the bar. And it was funny because my buddy Sherman, him and his wife really, really liked that place a lot as well. And I ended up seeing them there. So like towards the end of towards the end of the time that we were there, they came in there. So they came in there. We was talking to them for a little bit. We got a drink with them or whatnot. But I like that place. Man, that place it slowly became like one of my favorite places to go to. But it was just super packed. It's not that big. And it's really, really, the food's really, really good. I had like this gnocchi there as well. So that was cool. And then so after that, we just kind of walked around because Friday the weather was really nice. They had like something going on down at the beach.
They always got something going down.
Yeah, it was like a hip hop concert or something like that. Yeah, so it was. We got down there and we just started walking around a little bit, and then we ended up going to. We ended up getting. What was the name of the spot? Lucky Oyster. So we left there.
Hold on, wait. So you went from one oyster place to another one?
Yeah, but we didn't get oysters at Lucky Oyster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were literally just driving home, and Brooke was like, "You know what? I've never been." No, I think she said she's been to Lucky Oyster before, but it's been a while. We were like, "Hey, let's stop through there," because we had. We have we have a babysitter. It's like, yo, let's try to
get
everything we can at this time. You know what I'm saying? So we were like, all right. So we were headed home, and we were like, let's just peel in there real quick. So we went in there. Got another drink. I think I had ordered like some shrimp, some appetizers or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't get oysters because we had over like 40 oysters combined between both of us at the previous place at the Atlantic. So we ate there for a little bit, and then got some ice cream because, I always got to get my dessert. Got some ice cream on the way home. And that was pretty much it for Friday. Saturday, like you said, we had the game, as you mentioned. Then I know Sloan, she had a birthday party. I mentioned the whole story about Dick's Sporting Goods. We went there. I actually got my son his first golf club, so that was pretty cool. He's been addicted to that. He likes all the sports, man.
Yeah.
So it's been pretty cool to kind of see him really dive into those. And then Sunday, we didn't really do much on Sunday. I cooked on the grill Sunday, made some ribs, some burgers, which was really good. The weather was great outside. We played outside for a long time with the kids. And then on Monday was our actual anniversary. So Brooke and I went to brunch. We went to Rustic Spoon. We were trying to go to our favorite.
Where is that? I've never been there before.
Yeah, they got 2 locations, man. We went to the one that's in Red Mill because Red Mill's a little bit closer to our house. It's maybe 15, 20 minutes from our house. And then there's one that's like over there, like off Northampton, like near like Little Creek Base.
Okay.
Yeah. But that one is like 30 minutes from our house. So we went to the one in Red Mill, and it was good. I had French toast, and I think Brooke had like a eggs Benedict steak, like with steak on it or whatever.
I like chicken Benedicts. That's funny.
Yeah. So it was good. I don't like the runny eggs, man. I'm not a runny egg person, so that raw runny egg. Yeah, Bay Local. Yeah, Bay Local. Yeah, that was the spot.
You don't have to get it. It wouldn't be a Benedict unless it was runny.
That's what I'm saying.
But you can get it fried and then put the little sauce, whatever.
Holiday sauce. Yeah. But to me, that's then, like you said, it's not even a Benedict no more. Benedict is, with the raw, egg on it. But yeah, we went to Rustic Spoon on Monday. That was pretty cool. It was kind of like it was empty, wasn't nobody in the restaurant because it was a Monday. Everybody was at work. So we was in there.
Fast service in and out.
Yeah, I had, I remember you mentioned it before too. I had a couple of mimosas too. They had.
Did they have the sorbet ones?
They did.
What flavor sorbet?
Oh, man. It was like a pink purplish color.
So strawberry or raspberry?
Probably, yeah. Because I know that it was blackberry and was it blackberry and something? I can't remember. But it was good. I had like 2 or 3 of them, Jones. So it was good. It was really good.
I'm not a mimosa person, y'all. And champagne just doesn't agree well with me. But when I do drink it with like a sorbet in it, I don't know if the sorbet like calms it. I don't know. I can't even explain to you why I can drink those but can't really drink champagne.
Yeah.
But they are so good. I tried my first one. I went to Bay Local with my homegirl. She had came in from Northern Virginia and she was like, hey, let's, do brunch or whatever. So we decided to go there. And when we got there, Bay Local, it's typically busy, during breakfast time, especially Thursday through the weekend. You know what I mean? So we went on like a Friday or Saturday morning. I can't remember what time frame it was, but when we got there, it was packed. But the good thing about Bay Local, which I can't really speak for Rustic Spoon, but they have this like seating area, and then they'll serve you drinks and things like that until the space is available for you to eat.
Yeah.
So as I was looking at the menu, my favorite sorbet is mango. And they had it.
Okay.
And usually you can barely find a good sorbet in the stores with the mango flavor, right? Or sherbet. So when I saw that, I was like, ooh, I want some sorbet. So then when I had it, now that's like my go-to.
It was good. It was good. I had it, like I said, it was good. Even after the end, I'm still
trying to get the last bit of the sorbet.
Yeah. So it was really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was, we did the anniversary thing on Monday a little bit, and that was it. The rest of the week I had was pretty normal. It was the end of the month, so I had a couple of closings, getting things to the finish line, as we always try to do. And then, we here. Today's Friday. It's crazy, this beginning of this May already, which is crazy to me. Like, I'm like, wow. Like
April flew by.
Yeah, it did.
It really did.
April definitely flew by. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's jump into some of these mortgage topics. So what I saw here recently in the news, well, not in the news, really, it was on Instagram, but I did see where Zillow is allegedly looking to come up with a touring agreement where you, as a buyer, can hire a buyer's agent for a term of 7 days. And with this touring agreement, you go out and you look at properties with this agent, and you're basically contracted to use them for 7 days at a time. Whether or not there's a fee involved, I'm not really sure. I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't one, because, I mean, in all honesty, it costs money for that agent to take you out and look at homes, right? You know, you got gas, you got time, you got effort of taking you out there. So nobody in this world wants to work for free, right? You even you as a buyer, you wouldn't want to work for free, right? So you have to put your mind, you have to take the mindset of, you know, paying someone for their time. But they're doing it because, or allegedly they're doing it because, you know, typically you want to date the person before you marry them, right? So they're saying that with these touring agreements, you get a chance to get a feel for your buyer's agent before you sign an agreement to use them exclusively. So I think it's actually a pretty good idea. I don't know all of the ins and outs about it, but just looking at it from an umbrella view, it sounds like it may be something that can be utilized and it may work out. What you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it could be worked out. I guess I always, again, anytime there's some type of change or something type of, you know, something that's new that they're trying to implement, I always look at just how things are done now and how, you know, the reason, I always know there's a reason behind it, but like how people will actually utilize it, right? Because those are two different things.
Absolutely.
You know, so like, I feel like, you know, people will definitely utilize it, but I think it's a good scenario because, you know, obviously right now, you know, in the market that we got going on and what we're looking at probably coming out, you know, in July where, you know, a lot of, you know, not a lot, but some buyers may say, hey, I don't need representation, right? You know, I can just go, you know, reach out to the listing agent and do it my way. Or
That's
do it,
not
you know,
a good idea.
I don't think it's a good idea, but you're going to have people who feel empowered to do that. So I feel like, you know, having this in place, you know, to get access to the property, maybe this will have them at least, you know, meet with the buyer's agent at the property, start looking at properties, like you said, get a good feel for the buyer's agent, maybe like them. And then now a buyer agent who would normally not get that deal, maybe now are able to get that deal, you know what I mean? Because of, you know, them basically winning over them, like you said, dating them in that tour or that 7-day process when they're, you know, shopping around and looking for houses. So, you know, I think that can help. I think it's a win-win. I think it can help those people.
I think it's a win-win for everybody because there's a lot of people who utilize their buyer's
especially with
agent.
them not being like obligated. I guess it sounds like it's not going to be like any type of obligation with it. It's just more of like, hey, they're probably going to have some agents that are going to sign up to be a part of it, you know. So, you know, they'll say, hey, you know, we have a buyer here that wants to look at these houses, meet them at the first property or something, or hey, here's the time frame, an agent can sign up for it, and that could be a way, especially even like a young agent or an agent who is maybe struggling with trying to get leads, right? You know, maybe that's another way, because a lot of times it's, you know, when you're starting out new, it's tough to get leads, right? So, you know, this may be a way to be able to get leads. I'm sure that there's going to be probably some type of compensation for them, you know, putting that particular prospect buyer in front of you. So, you know, you may be, you know, the commission on it may be a little, you know, I don't know, split or whatever. But I do feel like it could be a win-win if everybody kind of goes about it the right way.
Yeah, so, I think so too.
Yeah.
And speaking of, you know, we own real estate. So Jerome Powell actually spoke this past week. And I really didn't get a chance to.
And real quick, before you go into that, it's funny, like, you know, he's the head Fed chair, right?
Yeah,
Jerome Powell.
yeah.
And like, if you would have told me, like, obviously I've been around, so I know who Jerome Powell is, but if you would have just said the name Jerome Powell, I'd have thought he was a brother. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Listen,
I got a couple of friends named Jerome.
And Powell?
Yeah.
Look, together.
I would have thought he's a brother. I'm like, let me find out there's a brother out there making, you know, they're, you know, speaking for the, you know, for the federal government. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but.
And he is not that, y'all. Nah. Not even close. Not even, he looked like he don't even tan, okay?
Nah, it's just funny to me, man. Every time we say, you know, Jerome Powell, I always think, I got a really good friend of mine, his name is Jerome, but I just think about like him in that position, like, you know what I mean?
Yes,
but now go ahead, you keep going. I ain't mean to mess up. Yeah.
But yeah, he spoke this week, and you know, he basically was just talking about how he doesn't see, you know, rates getting higher, and so that definitely made a positive impact on rates. We didn't see anything go up right after he spoke, but prior to that, rates was
man.
I mean, we took a beating. I felt like it was just like bow, bow,
Yeah, it's been rough. It's been rough, man, leading up to this, and I felt like I'm like, man, I hope it doesn't get worse. Like, but you're right on. I think it was Wednesday. You know, Wednesday we got, you know, he came out and said, hey, you know, we're not going to do any more rate. I mean, we're not going to increase the rate at all.
Right.
So just that I think gave some people, ease in mind, and rates did go down, a little bit on Wednesday.
Yep.
Because of that. So yeah, I was happy to see that. I mean, as far as, rates being cut though, that's still is up in the air.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't, I mean, at first they said we're going to do 3 cuts this year. Now we're kind of hopeful to maybe have 1 is kind of like what I'm hearing. But all in all, I would say this week has been a good week when it comes to the rate environment, because the last couple of weeks have been, it's been rough. It's been rough. Yeah. We even seen this morning. I don't know. The jobs report came out this morning. I haven't been able to take a look at it because we just started recording like right when it came out. But I got an alert that rates got even better this morning as well. Sure so that's good, man. Going into the weekend, like I said, having the last couple of weeks of seeing rates just consistently go up. I mean, I quoted a VA loan that has really, really good credit. They were like right at like in the mid 7s. You know what I'm saying?
That's how bad
mid to low 7s. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's really, really good credit. So your buyers who don't have that, I mean, they either have to pay points to, get to par, you know what I mean, or their rates, right around knocking at 8 or over above 8. So yeah, man, it's tough. It's tough, man, because the thing is I'm helping a lot of people. A lot of people are wanting to buy, but when we kind of go over what the payment looks like, because of where interest rates are, it's like, $500, $600, $700 more than what they were anticipating. And so it's that game that we're having to play. It's like, hey, do I still buy something, but buy something maybe that I not necessarily desired or thought I wanted to get because the payment on it's going to be way more than what I can afford?
Yeah.
Or do I just rent? And that's kind of the conversation I'm having constantly. And I always tell people, like we always say, I always tell them to go ahead and try to buy, because, you can always, work on getting something that you want later on when rates may be a little bit better versus renting and, kind of just being at the mercy of someone else.
Everybody has a starter home. That house that you buy when you're in your 20s, early 30s, that's not going to be the house that you live in. I say, and I'm pretty sure there's a statistic out there that backs this up in some way. But in my opinion, I feel like a person will go through at least 3 homes. The average person, 3 homes in a lifetime. Yeah. You're going to have your starter home. You're going to have your dream home.
Renters go through way more than that. You know what I mean? Like renters go through way more than 3 homes.
Purchases, though.
Yeah. I know. I'm saying purchases, yeah. But I'm talking about, I'm just speaking on
renters move all the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just speaking on the importance of like buying a home. Like it's like there's almost a comfort in knowing, hey, this is my home. This is where I'm going to be. Versus renter is like, you can move, because of the landlord for whatever reason has something come up, or I got a young lady who I used to work with. She reached out to me kind of like in a frantic because her parents lived in Georgia and they moved up here maybe like 2-3 years ago. It was during the pandemic, right? Yeah. And they moved up here and they've been renting a home that they got. They just found out that the home was going through foreclosure. There was people looking at the door, looking through the window, and they found out that the house, I guess they went online and looked and just Googled the address, but the house was going through foreclosure and was getting ready to be auctioned off. So now they got to like leave on the drop of a dime. Yeah. And it's just being like that.
And that's hard.
Yeah. And they're older, man. They're like in their 60s and 70s. So it's like they were settled. They were trying to move closer to the rest of their family, their daughter and everything, who I have a relationship with. So it's like, just stuff like that, man. I just think that, that's why buying those little intricacies that could happen, man, is just, I don't know. I just don't think that that's your best decision if you if you do have the ability to purchase or buy. What I mean?
So like as I was saying, you have your starter home, you have your dream home, and then eventually, depending on your dream home, you may even downgrade into your home that you kind of exit life with. Yeah. So. I think that homeownership is important. I think that, renters, like you said, they move around all the time. I remember having a conversation with my niece when she had a roommate moved out, so she had to cover the rent, right? Mm-hmm. And so rent was like $1,500-$1,600 if I'm not mistaken. And her portion was, $700-$800 of that, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, $750. Right. And so I asked her, I was like, okay. And at the time it was only, I want to say 6 months left on the lease. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I was like, well, the difference that you pay each month, you're going to end up paying that up front just to move. Yeah, you're going to go somewhere and get rent for $1,000 a month, but you're not even thinking about the fee that it costs to break your lease. You're not thinking about the security deposit and all the stuff that you have to put down to get into the new place. You might as well just pay the extra $700 for the remaining of that term.
Yeah.
And then if you decide that you want to move then.
Yeah.
Because when we did the math, the math wasn't math, and it didn't make sense. She was coming out of pocket more at the time for her particular situation. She was coming out of pocket more if she would have just moved.
Gotcha.
And so sometimes you just have to really like think about that, like how every year, every 2 years, you're moving about because your rent went up $300. Like, is it worth it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Does your moving expenses, does it equate to the amount that you're going to save monthly?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just got to look at the bigger picture when it comes to that type of stuff.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that one. Something that I had this week that I wanted to touch on that, we kind of mentioned just a second ago is I had a deal that that was closed, and it was a for sale by owner, right? And so the agent,
what was for sale? What do they call it?
FSBO.
FSBO.
Yeah, FSBO.
that gets me every time, y'all.
Yeah, it was a FSBO, and so I'm helping the buyer. Bright young dude too, man. He was in the reserves for the last 5 years, and he got actually active duty orders here to Naval Station Norfolk, and so he actually owned a house in Florida already, and he was looking to buy here. He's actually buying in Ghent area. I really like the Ghent area in downtown Norfolk as well. It's kind of an old colonial historical type of housing, well-built homes down there. But he was looking at buying it and maybe renting it out as well. Some of the rooms or some of the, But anyway, it was the transaction was very difficult, man, because not having that listing agent there to kind of facilitate and have conversation, because this particular deal. There were things that came up on the moisture and termite inspection, and the seller, she didn't understand or didn't know what needed to be done, because of the loan type. We were doing an FHA loan, and then on top of it, the appraiser went out, and then there was some things that came up on the appraisal that the appraiser was requiring us to have, or requiring the seller to have complete prior to closing. And so the seller didn't know that. Seller was like, of the belief like, hey, I'll give them a credit or whatever, to go towards that. And so that's what her belief was the whole time. So she, literally like a couple days before closing, she finds out like, hey, no, I actually have to get those done. And the funny thing is she was being, I guess, she didn't want to, she was being stubborn because she didn't want to reach out. She didn't believe the buyer's agent, who I have a really good relationship with. She didn't believe the buyer's agent, because the buyer's agent was telling her that, but she didn't believe her because she's like, hey, you're representing the buyer, so your interest is for the buyer. She's the seller, so she's like, you could just be telling me, hey, I have to get these things complete, and I don't have to necessarily do them right now. I have to pay for them right now, right? And so she was calling me, asking me like questions like that if she had representation. But didn't
the agent give her the information that was from you?
Yeah, she did. She did. But her thing was she didn't know if she needed to have those done before closing. That was her part. She didn't know that. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
and so the agent told her that. The documentation said that, but again, she didn't believe that because she's not an agent. She doesn't know. You know what I'm saying? So those are just the little things. And what happened with this particular deal, we ended up having to close late because we had to rush and try to get a painter out there and paint some stuff, get a downspout.
Did the buyer have to suffer?
No. The rate lock was actually good for a couple more days, so that was actually okay. But it was just like, it was a headache, man, because the seller didn't want to talk to the buyer's agent because she felt the buyer's agent was just trying to get everything for the buyer and wasn't trying to necessarily just, be diplomatic in the situation. And the seller just had this belief that, hey, what you're asking for, I don't believe. So she's reaching out to an agent in another state, giving her information that it ain't really consistent with how things are done here. And so it was a big mess. So then she's calling me. I'm having to put almost like a real estate agent hat on because she's asking me questions about stuff that I'm like, hey, if you had representation, like that's what this is for. Like they're there to help explain these things to you and have you understand things. And so it was a big mess, man, that, honestly, everything worked out. So I will say that everything was cool at the end, but didn't have to go through that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I feel like it's very important that there's representation, especially on the listings. I think both sides, listing and buying,
need it.
you know what I'm saying? But I would say especially when you're listing and trying to sell a house, because, there's a lot of stuff that she just didn't know that it just took,
You're in a contract. You have to think. I think that people have to really think about that from a legal business standpoint. You are under a contract. That means that what you put in this contract is what you have to do, right? And there are places in the contract, like any other contract, where you can get out of it, as long as you're abiding by the rules set within that contract, right? But there's a lot of things that you as a buyer or even a seller, you just don't know because this isn't your field, right? And then I don't like the expectation that she put on you, like, oh, well, you need to tell me what to do because you're the lender. We don't negotiate contracts. Actually, we will get in trouble if we do.
Correct.
We can only give you so much information. I could lead you to what they say. I could lead you to the water.
I can't help you drink.
But I can't help you drink it. I can't. There's certain things that I just can't do because if something goes wrong, something happens, and you come back and say, the lender told me. Yeah. And we're not licensed in that field. Yeah. I'm surprised that you helped the way you did because there's certain things, man, I don't know. But I understand.
I didn't. I kept my comments very I spoke to the part that was affecting us. I didn't speak to anything outside of what was pertaining to the loan and the appraisal. So but it just was a situation where, I'm hearing it from both ends. So the buyer's agent is getting frustrated because she's like, hey, she won't talk to me. Like I'm trying to, whatever. I could have given her a painter. Now she's trying to find a painter. She don't know nobody here. So it's just like, but then she's like, well, no, you can give me somebody who so it's just a big mess, when it came down to that situation. Wow. But yeah, that's all. I just wanted to share that example.
Representation is important, man. Yeah. I mean, you got to think about, I'm not saying that real estate agents are attorneys, right? But attorneys advise you on legal information, right? That's why you get an attorney, because there's some loopholes or things that are within law that you don't know. Same thing with real estate agents. Yeah. There are loopholes and things that they just know that you don't know. You got to really make sure that you think about certain things before you make those types of decisions. Because I even had a real estate agent. I'm in lending, but there are some things that I even don't know. Yeah. Would you say that about yourself too? Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff I don't know.
There's just some things I don't know. So I do have representation too. Yeah. So you definitely have to think about that, and I would suggest that you always have a real estate agent when you're conducting business on purchasing a house, because that's a large purchase. And if you don't move forward on something, or if you fail to do something that you were contracted to do, you think about that. Think about the consequences. Is it worth you paying a fee for an agent? You determine that.
Yeah. No, I feel you. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I think it's time for some BS, man. I feel like we dove deep into personal. We talked about mortgage related stuff. So now I definitely want to talk about some BS that I've seen here lately on what day was this? Today is, let me see. Today's the
Fourth.
In the past,
the third. Today's the third.
Yeah, so this just a few days ago. It was definitely this week. There was a guy in Gloucester County, which is not too far from here. I would say probably about an hour to 15 minutes away from here. I actually helped one of my friends' best friend purchase a house in Gloucester County. But there was a guy who was deemed armed and dangerous, who was on the loose, and they basically put all the schools on lockdown and told everybody who lived in the county to shelter in place.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. I checked on her. I was like, hey, y'all good out there? Yeah. And she was like, I'm at work. The kids are in school. I'm kind of nervous. And I was like, oh, well, I hope y'all be safe out there, man, because. Yeah. And all I kept thinking about was shit, what would I do if I was on the loose? I ain't finna stay in Gloucester. Let me go down to this city life. And, in this little area, city life is like Virginia Beach. Yeah. So I was like, yep, I'm staying away from Virginia Beach this week. Yeah. Until he's caught. Yeah. So that was crazy. That was something that was something that came up that I thought was, it was very... disheartening to know that that was happening. And then it's funny because there's this movie that I watched what was it? It was probably like a month or two ago. And after I watched it, I came to the podcast one morning and I was like, man, it's this movie that had like a crazy, twist in the end, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, me, Sophia, don't remember shit, right? My memory, when it comes to like names and things like that, I don't remember names very well at all. Titles, song names, artists, that type of stuff, that's not my thing to remember, right? So B was like, well, what movie was it? And I was like, I don't know, but look it up. So, obviously, the movie just kind of really went to the back of the mind. I was like, I don't even remember the movie. So, I'm scrolling through, trying to look for a movie to watch, and I found it. So, I sent it to him, and I was like, you gotta watch it, because the end gonna be crazy. I mean, I ain't saying it's the best movie out there, but it's definitely gonna have a plot twist at the end that you don't expect. So,
yeah, that movie was crazy. Yeah, I checked it out. What day was it? I think it was Wednesday or Thursday night. I can't remember one of these. Yeah, it had been Wednesday because it wasn't yesterday.
Okay.
But yeah, I watched the movie. I think it's called On the Line.
On the Line.
Yeah.
It has what, Mel Gibson?
Yeah, Mel Gibson's in it, and he's like a radio personality.
Yeah,
person.
doing what we do now, except for, at a broader.
Yeah. He's at a radio station. And
the radio station was at night.
Yeah, it was like an overnight radio
and they told stories. That was the...
Yeah, people would call in and, would talk or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was crazy, man, like, because basically the whole movie played out where he was in the radio station and he had like this crazy caller call in and was saying that he had his family hostage. And so, and then he found out later on that... should I share the whole thing? I can share the whole thing?
Prank.
Yeah, it was a prank. It was a prank. That he didn't actually
But you won't understand. You won't. I guarantee if you decide to watch this movie, you will not know who the person that set it up was.
Yeah.
It's a complete plot twist, and the acting was superb.
Yeah. It definitely had me surprised at the end, and it's 2 times.
Yeah, it was a double.
Yeah, it was like a double surprise.
Yeah.
But yeah, we watched it. I watched it Wednesday night. And it was crazy. Like I said, I was just surprised on how it ended. I was sitting there the whole time because you had told me the ending was kind of crazy.
Yeah. So that's what you was anticipating the whole time.
Yeah, so I'm sitting there thinking,
okay, keep it going.
Yeah, I'm like, I just want to get to the end. I'm paying attention to everything that's going on because a lot of times one things I like about movies like that, there's like, and that one didn't really have it per se a little bit, but a lot of times movies foreshadow.
Yeah.
And so if you really paying attention, you'll see that a movie will give you like major moments.
Yeah.
But if you look at the minor moments that are normally around the major moments, so it's like, hey, they show this thing over here, so they want you to see this, but there's also something over here that's happening too. So you got to look and see both of those. Because really, in the moment, you think that major thing is the most important part, when really it's the other thing that's the most important part. And so I like movies like that later on when you see how it ends, you can like, oh yeah, I remember that was why that happened. Like it kind of connects and makes sense. And that's kind of how that movie was a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it was good.
Yeah.
So let me tell you about this movie. I didn't even tell you about this movie that I attempted to watch, y'all. I am scary, right? When it comes to movies, I don't watch anything horror if it's got anything to do with the spirits, if it's got anything to do with monsters popping out. That's just not me, right?
Yeah.
So there's this movie on Netflix called Countdown.
Okay.
So I guess I just ignored, you know how on Netflix it'll tell you like what's in the movie. It'll say horror, this, right? Sex, nudity,
yeah.
So I ignored that. I got so used to bypassing the dun-dun.
Done, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
When the end come up. Yeah. That's funny.
And it flash out.
Yeah.
You just like play.
That's definitely it's been a trademark for Netflix for sure. Right. That's funny. Yeah.
So I wasn't paying attention, and the way the movie started off, it was good. Like first 5 minutes, I was like, And it's about an app, and on the app it's called Countdown, and when you download it, it tells you when you're gonna die.
Oh snap!
Yeah, and so some of the apps said that you were going to live to your 83. Some of them said you was gonna die in 3 days, right?
Oh gosh!
So it was crazy, right?
That is crazy.
And so when I didn't even get a chance to watch the end of the movie, but on there, when you were getting ready to die, it'll say contract agreement failed, or you did not agree, or you did not follow the agreement, or something like that. And then the people was really passing away, right?
That's crazy.
But once it had monsters and all that stuff in it, like horror type stuff, y'all, you wouldn't believe how fast I cut that TV off. I was like, yep, nope.
So question.
Can't watch that no more.
That's crazy.
And ever since then, I've been thinking about that stuff. I'm like, oh, I got this monster in my head. I got to stop thinking about it.
So question. So if that was really real, like,
no, I ain't downloading that app.
If you had the opportunity to know when you were gonna pass away,
nope.
And like there was like a place to get it. So I don't know if it was an app or whatever it was. Would you want to look into see when you knew you was gonna pass away? Okay,
would
so you just want to. Nah, probably not. Yeah. I would rather just live and not know. But some people.
Some people would, and that's exactly what happened in the movie. There were some people who were like, "Nah, I ain't messing with it. Yeah, that ain't it." And then there were some people who were like, couldn't tell them fast enough. They downloaded it real quick, and so I would feel though
if I was like, I don't know though, like where I'm at in my life, I've experienced a lot. I'm pretty comfortable. Obviously, I want to grow and be old. But if I was like in my like 60s or 70s or something like that, I probably would be more apt to look at it than if I was like young, like how I am now. Like, I don't know. Like, would that change at your age? Like, if you were older, would that not change your mind about that? Okay. Okay.
No, I just don't want to know. I mean, I just feel like that's something that you just have to. I've been around people who passed, and it'll when you know that something is going to happen, you tend to not live life to its fullest because you're like, well, shit, I'm gonna die anyway. You know what I mean?
I guess I look at it differently. I look at like, because it's a song, Jay-Z song. I forget the name of it, man.
You
but it's on
maybe because you are a half glass full type of person.
Because I'm thinking like if somebody knew, like if you knew, like, because I feel like a lot of times people put stuff off because they feel like they're gonna live for a long time. I feel like that's like the majority of people, right? You know what I'm saying? Like they don't go travel, go vacation that they can't afford or whatever. It's like they just don't do it because they're like, hey, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna wait. But if you knew like, hey, I had 5 years left, I feel like you would like really like live life during that time. You know what I'm saying? Or if you knew you had 2 months left in your life, like you would really try to go out here and enjoy it to your fullest. You know, I mean, I don't know, but you're right. I guess that's just, it's a mindset.
It's a mindset thing. So it's a half glass full, half glass empty type of situation, depending on your mindset and what you do and how you live. I mean, you could look at it both ways.
That's true.
I just feel like, nah, I'm good. Like, I don't want to know. Like, just let me go in peace. Look.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you on that. I'm with you on that.
To be peaceful. That's all.
I'm with you on that. I'm always a curious person, so I kind of want to know, but at the same time, it's like if you asked me if that, like they were like, "Yo, it's over there," I probably wouldn't mess with it.
Right? So that movie was crazy. I mean, if you're into horror, I don't know, but if you are, like the first 5 minutes to get you, and it ain't nothing scary about the first 5 minutes, but once
it's tough for me because so Brooke, she like that too. She don't like scary movies.
I'm with her.
So it's like for me, it's like in the house. I don't know. Like a scary movie is like. I kind of want to watch it with someone, like, right? I don't want to, like, to me, like, if I'm just sitting there watching a scary movie by myself, it don't hit the same. And, it's like I said, I kind of equate it almost like when we talk about, like, a roller coaster where you have the thrill and it's kind of crazy. Yeah. Like, a roller coaster by yourself, it ain't. Yeah, okay, here we go. The roller coaster by yourself, it don't hit the same, versus you, like, being on there with somebody. So it's like a scary movie. It's like, if I'm sitting there watching it and Brooke, she doesn't want to be around it because she don't even want to see it. It's like,
me neither.
I'm going to have to like go to another room and watch it. Like all that. I don't even feel like doing all that.
That's too much effort. I feel you on that. Yeah. That's too much effort. But see, I don't like them either. I'm with Brooke. I don't mess with, like, I'm telling you, when I saw that first, like, cringe face when it turned, the thing when it turned around all crazy and the face, I was like, oh, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I was like, absolutely not. This has to go off. I don't do anything scary.
That's funny.
And I'm not even a scary person when it comes to other things, but just movies like that, I don't want to dream about it. I don't want it to come in my thoughts. It's just some things that once you see it, you just can't even get it out your mind, even if you try. And that's the type of situation that I don't like to be in. So.
Nah, I feel you. Last thing I want to mention too, 'cause I know we've been on it for a minute, but I'm a big hip hop head, so I saw. I've been mentioning the last couple of podcasts, like with the whole beef that we got going on with Kendrick Lamar.
You said that you said it like you did.
Well, the hip hop community. Then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the hip hop community where with Drake, Kendrick Lamar, and J. Cole, and so Drake. He had dropped his diss record maybe like 2-3 weeks ago called Push Ups, which I think is fire. He was coming at a lot of people because a lot of people were coming at him. And so a lot of people were waiting for Kendrick Lamar to respond. And Kendrick Lamar finally responded.
2 weeks later?
He responded this past Tuesday, I want to say, but a track called Euphoria. And that joint was fire. Like, it was really, really fire, man. So he came at Drake saying a whole bunch of stuff, man. So I'm eager to see how Drake is going to respond. Because one of the big topics that they were talking about, one of the things that Kendrick was coming at him, he was like, because Drake is half black, half white. And so, Drake's usage of the N-word and how he just like, he was saying that, Drake's like a culture vulture. Like anytime there's anything that's going on in the black community, like you never really hear Drake, address it or act as a black man in that sense. But, anytime it's like culture stuff, he really like prioritizes and makes money off of that. But, that's, he doesn't, what I'm saying? Like he just doesn't carry himself in that manner. And so like that was a big thing Kendrick was saying, because Kendrick is known as like a very conscious rapper, very, person that's in tune with, the community and, the black community or whatnot. And so it was crazy because I seen a lot of people talking about like, well, look, Kendrick, you saying all these things, but your wife, she's half black, half white. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like,
that too. Matter of fact, I saw it was Cameron and Mace,
their
podcast.
Yeah. So they were speaking
who
on that.
It. Yeah.
So that and so I'm just eager to see.
And you got half, not half black, half white kids, but a quarter white kids.
Yeah.
Right?
So I understand what Kendrick is saying though. Like I do understand what he's saying, but I think that
you can't put that pressure on one person.
Most people are gonna look at it in a way where it's like, yo, you not even, you saying this, but in the same thing, like, who you married and who you're with and who you're having your children with, like that's, you kind of, subscribing to the same thing. But I guess the way Kendrick is saying, though, like, it's the way you raise your kids and how you do, like, how that person is themselves. Like, even though they could be half black, half white, like how they carry themselves and how they do stuff. And so, like, that's more of it versus just your skin color. You know what I'm saying? And so.
But he was raised by his mother.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming,
but that's
black
what he's saying, though.
father.
Yeah, but
wasn't there.
Yeah, but that's what he's saying. Though.
I mean, like, what do you expect?
Yeah, no, I get it.
I know you do, but I'm just saying in general. Yeah, what does Kendrick expect?
But it's not what he expects. I guess it's more of like, okay, well, if you half black, half white, you were raised by a white woman, then like you acting as like, because Drake is like when he raps and talks and stuff, he's fully like. Black this, black, you know what I'm saying? Like he's acting just as a black man.
Because that's how society recognizes him.
But what you just said, I mean, you can't have your cake and eat it too, basically, in that sense, right? Like you just said he was raised by a white woman.
Correct.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
How you're raised and how society looks at you is different though.
They're different, but that still doesn't take from the fact of like how you, again, I understand. You may not, like I said, we may just not be on the same page when it comes to this, but like you're right, those that could very be true. But what it is though is like Drake acts and talks and he makes money as being a black person, like, but then when it comes to like things, you never hear him say anything about anything when it comes to that. Like that's all. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's just one person, but Drake has he has a very strong, very high platform. He's a very powerful person. And so you would think for him to be able to monetize and make as much money as he has, because of the black culture, right? Buying his records, all of these things that he does, saying all the things that he says, and him having the pulse of that when things happen, you never hear from him. Like, I mean, literally never hear from him at all. You know what I'm saying? So that's
you can't put that type of expectation.
I'm not saying you got to put that expectation.
Not you, but I'm just saying in general.
But what I'm saying is though is that like
that's what he was talking about.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about basically. So
yeah.
So.
All right, guys, we went over time today. Look, I feel like this conversation about Drake and Kendrick could have went another 10 minutes. Look, we should have started with that.
Right.
Again, you can follow us. I am on Instagram, Facebook. I am SKV_mortgage.
Yep, and I'm Bryan_Royster, Bryan with the Y.
Yep, and check us out at Let's Talk BS PD on Instagram, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.